Salve, salve, Bahiacasters! A partir desse momento nós estamos aqui conectados, não ao vivo, porque esse programa é gravado. E eu vou fazer logo as ressalvas por que esse programa está sendo gravado. Na verdade, esse é um programa onde a gente está recebendo dois artistas de atuação internacional, um americano e um baiano. Então, por conta disso, a gente vai fazer toda a interação em inglês. Daí o nosso podcast será legendado em português e será exibido, ok? Então não teremos interação. Também por conta disso, de todo esse processo de edição, o nosso podcast vai ser um pouco mais curto. Então a gente vai ter somente 1 hora de duração. Mas está aí, lançada aí no ar, essa nossa primeira incursão aí nesse universo também de juntar as perspectivas de artistas do mundo todo, ou personalidades, não só artistas, para a gente somar aqui no Bahiacast. Inclusive, estamos esperando uma moça do Afeganistão que conseguiu fugir daquele regime que vocês sabem que está acontecendo no Afeganistão, e a gente está aguardando ela aqui. Então, logo, logo, com certeza teremos mais gente do mundo todo aqui interagindo no nosso Bahiacast. Então, em nome de toda a nossa equipe, que é Walterson Cabeça na direção técnica, Jorge Bill na direção geral do programa. A partir desse momento, a gente vai começar a nossa interação com os nossos Jaime Hinckson e o nosso Vitor Maca Reggae Samba. É isso aí. Hi, guys.
Hi. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yes, I see that you have 10 days or so to stay in Salvador. So I think that you have a lot to do.
10 days, but I might extend my ticket because I love Salvador so much. This is my 3rd time here. Victor brought me here 2 times before. We did some touring, and I had a show last night at Entre Voias.
Entre Folhas e Ervas.
Yes. Fantastic show. I love it here. So 10 days might not be enough. I might go a little bit longer.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's start by the point. Let's imagine that people that are seeing us here at the podcast, in this podcast, they do not know much or anything about your trajectories. So let's start by introducing ourselves and saying anything that you want to say about our personal and professional life.
Okay.
You choose?
Go ahead.
First.
All right. Okay, hi, my name is Jaime Hinckson. Obrigado vocês. My Portuguese is really bad, otherwise I would do this entire interview in Portuguese.
Next time.
Yeah. My family's from Jamaica, but I live in Miami in the States. I've been playing piano for many years, play with many different bands. I'm currently playing with Julian Marley, The Wailers. I recently played with Jesse Royal on a Cali tour. I played with Wailing Souls, Holly Cook from the UK, Empress Sativa. A lot of fantastic artists that I've had the pleasure of playing with. Also helped start Victor's band, Makahege Samba in Gainesville, where I started back up my music career. It's my 3rd time here in Salvador. I love it here. It's like a second home to me. Very similar to Jamaica. So, yes, thank you to Sergio. Thank you to Bahiacast for having me here today. But that's a little bit about me.
Very good.
Well, I will go back for when we was talking behind the scenes.
Yes.
Survival, that's the best word that I can describe myself because I'm out of the statistics. If I see, and I remember my friends from when I was a teenager, most of them, many of them, they are not here anymore.
Dead or?
Yeah. Many,
imprisoned?
In prison, many could not make it because of, psychological and psychiatrical, problems. And I want survival.
But you started here in Salvador. You from here?
Yeah, I'm from Salvador, and I started doing music after work for so many years in the live music scene as a handyman of one of the most important reggae producers for Bahia. Estácio, yes. Where I was able
Legendary.
to learn so much about music, production, promotion, and having the courage to do without any infrastructure and being successful many times and also, losing everything.
So before you started your experience as a musician here in Salvador, you had all that experience with the backstage stuff?
Yes.
For how long?
It was about 5 years I started doing flyering.
Yes.
That was my first side job when I quit a surf competition and I had to, make some money. And that was my first gig doing flyering. But
distributing some papers,
flyers, to
announcing
advertise the show.
Yes.
And then, but was like a more popular shows was Cássia Eller, Luis Melodia, and many others. And
so great productions.
Great productions, but
huge ones. Yes.
In that time, one of the producers was a girl that loved reggae, but she was younger. And she asked the main guy, that was Estácio, why don't you work with reggae music? And he says, I can make money with that. This is, nobody pays the tickets. And she was pushing, no, let's do one. And he says, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a Wednesday night in my venue, which was the Cine Rio Vermelho.
Okay.
And if you promote the show and the show can pay itself, I give you a better day.
Wednesday.
And she did Edson Gomes. And we were able to break even. And that's how it started. And he said, well, now I'm going to give you what's the different name that we can bring, what's popular now. And that was when they decided to bring Nativos. Natiruts today. Mm-hmm. And he sent her to Brasilia to negotiate with Natiruts that came and played 2 shows in a house that was able to fit around 800 people, and we had 2 days in a row with 1,200 people.
So it's kind of lucrative.
Very lucrative. Very lucrative, because after that, it was another production that was, he told us, so now we need to bring an international act. Who we're going to bring? And I was participating in all of that, all the, the meetings and all of that. I could not say anything, of course. I was a kid, but I was seeing everything.
And learning.
And
that's important.
That's when Estácio said, we need somebody older that it's confident enough and understand reggae music, because I want to bring somebody from outside. That's when he hired Geraldo
from
Curitiba to come to Bahia just to talk about
the scene and
reggae
all the
music
artists.
And who would we bring to make a bigger show. That's when we did the legendary show that was Gregory Isaac, Diamba, and Adão Negro.
You remember the year?
1997 or 8, something like that.
That's like a proper show.
I have the flyer on Souza today, and that show was planned for. The plan was to have 10,000 people. It was sold 17,000 tickets, was 5,000 courteses, and 3,000 people.
I mean, free tickets.
Free tickets, 5,000, and 3,000 people that came in just,
slam the
took down the
gates.
fence.
The gates?
Took down,
Yes.
Took down the gates.
That's always the first good sign of a good show.
We had
apparently.
Yeah. We had approximately like 30,000 people in a space that fits max 15.
It sounds dangerous.
It was.
Dangerous, but it also sounds like a really great concert.
Yes. That was a memorable show. Unfortunately, one person died in that show. Somebody went up to the stage and tried to dive, and it didn't go well.
It was too high. So
yeah.
He dived down?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was the boom for the reggae music in Bahia. You know, that was the boom, because right after that, Cine
Calmon.
You know, did what he did, and we were able to do other big shows, but unfortunately, you know, too many people, too many vultures, and things start to go down.
Yes. But I think it's important to establish that it was something that was getting bigger and bigger, not only in Bahia.
Yeah.
We had other names in Brazil, so it was a general scene for reggae music in Brazil.
Yes.
That paved the way for international artists keep coming. So they kept coming. And we had, since then, great presentations, always or almost always with international artists here in Bahia.
One thing that was really important that I paid attention at that time, it was the CD piracy.
Yes.
You know, because what we would do to make an artist popular, and that's how Adão Negro also became so popular in that time, was the CD piracy, you know, on the streets. But when Geraldo says, who is good and who has a good price, that was Gregory.
Gregory Isaacs.
He was well known already. But we had 6 months advertising Gregory on the streets in a micro trio, going in every single neighborhood, bumping Gregory. And in that time, like a Coco...
Coco Dembele?
No, the guy who sells cocoa with the combi of the reggae combi.
Coco do Reggae.
Yes. We would go to guys like him and give you just bump Gregory Isaac, and we're going to get you, you know, VIP on the event. And we would do that in Piripiri, in everywhere. And in 3 months, we would make any artist popular in Salvador. Any. As we did Stanley Beckford.
Starlights.
Yeah. We did Maxi Romeo. Because...
Nice guy.
Not that they wasn't well known, they was. But with the campaign pushing, it was a thing, you know. It was unbelievable.
Magical.
Yeah.
So it was at that time that you started your own band here in Salvador?
No, actually I started when the company was, you know, losing power. You know, was like everything was going down, but I had all the network. I was able to work and meet so many people, and all my friends from my neighborhood was musicians, and they said, "Let's do a band. Let's make a band." But I was a composer, and we start, and I say, "Well, if we have a band, I can be a manager."
But instead, you became the singer, or at the same time?
No, and we worked for a year. The band was ready, you know, with all the musicians, but no singer. And I was waiting. We need a singer. We need some. I was looking for somebody, until Hermogenes, that plays percussion with me until this day, and another friend, Vasco, said, "Man, we can't wait anymore. So
I didn't know that.
You have to sing just for us to get going, because we need to practice." So, and I was supposed to be just the singer to practice. So we have the arrangements and all of that. But
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know. Just finding out.
And then that was funny because we was rehearsing and all of that, and I wasn't planning on being the singer, but I was going to the rehearsal and I was singing, and it was so bad. But one of the guitar players brought his teacher, Luciano Moreira, to see and to clean, to give like a sound advice and all of that. And he was a teacher, great guitar player who came to see the rehearsal. And he saw it, and when we was done, he came to me, he took me by the arm and say, I need to talk to you. And I say, what's going on? And he say, I like this project like a lot. I want to participate. I want to play with you guys if you let me direct, and you will be the singer. You don't need another singer. You can do it. So that's how it started. So Luciano was like a...
So you spent some time here playing and performing in Salvador.
Yeah, from 1999 until I left in 2007.
Yes. So that's the point. That's the shifting moment that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So you left for Gainesville directly. I mean, you went to the States.
I went to Gainesville in 2007. And then in 2008, I went to California. And I spent 2 years and a half in San Diego, where people knew that I was a musician already. And they would say, what do you play? And I say, reggae music. And they say, where are you from? And I say, Brazil. And everybody, oh yeah, that's cool. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to get gigs, and, it was so hard until I came back here the end of 2009. 2009 or 2010, something like that. And I had my old band with me with a couple different guys. Luciano had passed away. And then my bass player went to the guitar, Rafael Luis. And he invited a different bass player who used to play pagode and samba, but really good player. And we was, rehearsing for a reggae show, only reggae music and all of that. But in the middle of the rehearsal, we had to stop, and the bass player would have another practice after, and he was, practicing a samba lick. And when he started, we're like, whoa, I can do with the same bass line. And will be different because the drum will have to play a little different. And I was like, hey, Pequinho, please keep going. Don't stop. Let's make a song. I need to record this. And after that, I said, well, from today on, if people ask me what I play, I say reggae samba, because I will mix reggae with samba. No, as a samba reggae, because I will never be able to have that much of musicians in America to play percussion. But I'm going to use all the influence, especially from the samba, from Bahia, from the samba de roda, into the licks. So I can have a spicy reggae. And that was
a turning point.
A turning point, because when I went back to US, I remember actually I was going back, and in the airport, somebody saw me with the guitar and say, oh, you're a musician, what do you play? And I say, reggae samba. And what? What is that? Do you have anything recorded? And I say, no, not yet. And, oh, man, can I save your number? Because I want to hear that. It sounds really interesting. And then I invited Eric Finley and Alexander And then you came right after.
Yeah, that's when me and Victor met for
That's
the first
the point.
time.
When did you first meet? I mean, when you started talking and playing together?
So my journey, just like Victor's journey, just like most musicians' journey, lots of ups and downs. And you can't appreciate the ups without the downs. So I grew up doing music. I played classical piano, hated it. Chopin, Debussy, Rachmaninoff, Beethoven. I thought it was boring because when I was playing it as a kid, I wanted to be outside. I wanted to be playing football. I wanted to, I'm into Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, like everybody. So I wanted to be outside. And instead, I was doing classical music. Eventually, I told my piano teacher, look, I'm done with this boring classical thing. And she introduced me to jazz piano. Monty Alexander, Leslie Butler, a lot of Jamaican jazz pianists. Fell in love with jazz, started playing with jazz. Started doing competitions, won a few competitions, and I did all of this through school. But when it came time for college, I was book smart, so I was good in school and I was good in music. So I had the option to go on a scholarship with music or go on a scholarship with academics to a school. I decided I'm going to put music aside. I have music figured out. I'm the best musician in the world. I'll put piano down and I'm going to go to school to do, just academics. So I went to Gainesville, University of Florida, big party school, good sports, lots of pretty girls.
But studying?
Studying. I was studying.
Not music.
Not studying music for the first time. I was studying industrial engineering. So
Can you believe it?
I studied to do industrial engineering. I wasn't really focused on school, but I had enough sparks to get by and pass my tests. Failed a few classes, retook a few classes, but most of all, I was enjoying the social life. I was president of the Caribbean Student Association. I was throwing parties. I was doing all kind of stuff. And when it came right down to the end, I got a job with Ford Motor Company. All these things were lined up for me for graduation, and something happened at the end where I couldn't take my last semester because they had switched over the deans, and I had to take the semester off. And they're like, oh, wait till next year and we'll put you in your classes. So I had an entire semester, months in Gainesville, with time on my hands.
Among those guys throwing parties and playing people from all over the world. I mean, a cosmopolitan environment.
Yeah, because in Gainesville, although it's a small town, the school is very well known. So you have people coming from all over to the school. And because we won football, we won basketball during that time, everybody wanted to come party with us. So there's always new people in town, new faces in town. It was always buzzing. There was always something to do. And I was in the middle of all of it. I loved that stuff. So once I got this semester off, I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my time. And I remember meeting somebody, and I have a keyboard in my room. And they said, oh, you play piano? And I was like, what do you mean? Of course I play piano. Everybody knows I play piano. My whole family, all my friends know I play piano. She's like, I've never heard you play piano. You don't play piano. I was like, no, I'm there trying to convince her. Like, no, you don't know me? I'm Jaime Hinckson. Like, I play piano. And they're like, she goes, well, do you have anything recorded? Do you have a CD? And I was like, no. But, I'm going to. And it was a motivation to seek out some musicians in Gainesville. I found Dave Malash, which is our mutual friend who has a studio. Some local musicians. I found some jazz musicians, taught them a little bit of reggae. Had this idea for a reggae jazz album, similar to Victor's fusion of reggae samba. So finally recorded something just to prove to myself and prove to other people that, I do music. But now this is years later. This is 8 years later. I gave up music completely to do something else. I have a job lined up with Ford Motor Company. They're waiting for me to come up there and start the job. And after I made the music and I released it, I realized what was missing in my life. Like, I fell back in love with music, heavy, like head over heels. And I knew at that point I couldn't do the 9-to-5 Ford Motor Company thing. And I passed up on the job, passed up on my degree, didn't even finish school. Booked a one-way ticket to California to start over with music. Nobody knows the struggle in California. Everybody thinks, oh, you're Jaime Hinckson that plays music with Julian Marley and all these people. When I was in California, I slept on a beanbag for months. Couldn't afford curtains to put over the blinds when the sun came in the morning. Had to give up everything I had just to pay for one keyboard. I'm on the street corner handing out CDs and nobody's listening to them. Eventually, like, you know, had a taste of some humble pie. I was able to tour with Holly Cook, which led to other work. And you start working with artists and you start making a name for yourself slowly. Eventually, down the road, I got a message on Instagram from some random guy named Julian Marley, and he's like, hey, I was looking up your stuff and I like your stuff, I want to meet you. And I'm like, whatever, Julian Marley, this must be a fake account. I end up going to meet up with him, and it's really him. He likes my music, he's into my stuff. I auditioned in Miami and the rest was history. Me and him are fantastic friends now. We do music. I've been playing with him for over 3 years now.
So that was before?
This was after.
You met.
Victor, I met right when I was recording my album in Gainesville with Dave Malash.
Oh, that album that you were in the streets trying to... Yes.
Right. This reggae jazz album is called Take Flight. Go check it out.
I have to check it out.
This was 2013. I met Victor at the studio and Dave said, hey, I have a buddy here. I was like, oh, what kind of music he does? He's like, oh, reggae. And I was like, oh, okay, where's he from? He's like, Brazil. I was like, oh. Then I found out after meeting Victor, he does reggae samba. He has this idea for a project he wants to start. He wants me to be involved. And at that point, I had nothing. I was doing absolutely nothing in Gainesville. I was like, yeah, sure. We link up in a garage with Alexander, with Eric. We start jamming, and this reggae samba thing had a vibe. So I was able to bring my Jamaican reggae influence, and they were able to teach me some of the Brazilian samba influence, and it was the perfect connection. And from then, he brought me to Bahia to tour. We came back a second time with Pato Bantan.
To take some caipirinha shots too?
Oh, chiquitos all day. Like, we went up and down, Ongina, Baja, all over the place. Fell in love with this place, all thanks to Victor. Mm-hmm. So it was all, you know, that those meant to be moments.
Yes, I know.
Like, you don't, sometimes you force something and you want something to happen so bad. So everybody was like, you know, go to school, get the job with Ford Motor Company, go live your life, go get married, have kids, and everything is structured out for you. And sometimes something random happens, like COVID, or something random that you can never predict. And you kind of have to just flow with the punches because everything happens for a reason. So it was meant for me to hit that wall to realize I need to come back to music, which I'll never, ever leave again, and meet wonderful people like Victor, which end up introducing me to wonderful people like you, Sergio, Ajao Negro, Bahiacast, the whole thing. Like, all of this came from that one moment. So you never know what is going to blossom from those down moments, but you have to appreciate it and find the optimistic side every time.
I moved. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Because from my perspective, seeing you two guys with zero chance of meeting each other and doing that fantastic music that you do, both separately and together, this is magical.
Oh, yeah.
Meant to be, man. Meant to be.
But let me ask you, were you into Brazilian music before you actually met someone from Brazil?
So
when we were dealing with jazz music?
My knowledge of Brazilian music, we know Gilberto Gil, we know the song Girl from Ipanema. We play that in jazz standards all the time. The other guy, Verosai. What's that musician from Brazil? His last name is Verosai.
Verosai, I cannot understand. Veloso.
I think it's
Caetano Veloso.
I think so, something like that.
But, Veloso.
But minimal. As a matter of fact, even Carnival, the Carnival that we know is in Jamaica, in Trinidad, in Caribbean countries. It's similar to Brazilian Carnival, but Brazil Carnival is completely different So when I first came to Bahia, I learned about Carnival, and it was only from coming to Bahia and reaching out and starting to learn a little bit of Portuguese, and that's when I started finding out about samba artists. We got to go meet in Cachoeira da Viana.
Dalva Damiana. Doutora Dalva.
So the history started to come along from my visit, and that's what I like to do is when I go to a country, I try to engulf myself in the entire culture. That's when you really learn, because when you're in the States, you know, they give you a little drop and say, oh, this is Brazil. Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and Gilberto Gil.
Okay.
Jamaica, here's Bob Marley, here's Usain Bolt. When you go into the country, you get to meet everybody, big and small. You meet everything. You get to go to all the places. So
the tastes.
Yeah. So I didn't know much about samba until Victor introduced me to it. It was mostly just reggae, jazz, the only little small influence I had from the Jamaica and United States.
Because you see, both of you, of course, there's a sense of belonging. We keep telling about this here in Bahiacast when we talk about rap and the belonging that we sense as the music of the black diaspora. Is the diaspora?
Yes.
Okay. So it's quite the same for Jamaica. When I went to Kingston, for example, I felt like I was in Salvador.
That's how I feel here in Salvador.
Yes. So, talking about the music specifically, we see that this is a map of where the black peoples reached America. So it doesn't matter if Jamaica, if the south of the states, or Bahia, or whatever. So samba and jazz and reggae, we feel very deeply that they are part of the same thing, same roots.
Music is the universal language across the world, across genres. All music came from Africa, and it turned into something else, and it turned into something else. It continues to evolve. So you have a lot of people that, you know, they're just pure reggae. They don't want reggae samba, they don't want reggae jazz, just pure reggae, roots reggae. But reggae is evolving. Same thing with samba, same thing with rap music. It went from hip hop to rap to trap to all this stuff, and everybody has their own opinion. But the big thing about music is that it is universal language. It breaks barriers across different countries, different languages. Me and you might not agree on the same thing about politics, but we'll go to a Dao Negro show together and sing along to the songs. So music, it brings people together, whether it's samba, reggae, hip-hop. I love collaborations and doing crossovers. I'm going to be doing a lot more of those with a label I'm launching soon. I actually haven't even told anybody. So Bahiacast, you guys are the first to know. Miss Mac Music, named after my piano teacher, will be launching next year. I'm going to be doing a lot of collaborations along with my own reggae jazz and hip-hop jazz projects. But
maybe you can present when you come back.
Oh, definitely.
Here
100%.
Bahiacast.
100%. But this music thing, it's something that was given to us. It's a gift, and if we don't use it, if we don't spread it, it's our responsibility to inject this positivity and good energy into the world. And they give us samba music, makes people dance, makes people happy, carnival. They give you reggae music, Bob Marley, and the vibe. You can tell when you watch the crowd, like sometimes when people come to see the shows, you see tears in their eyes and they're like, oh my gosh, you don't know what I'm going through. The show is amazing. For us on the stage as musicians, and you guys know this, it's even more special when you look out and you see a crowd of people enjoying what you're giving to them. Only you could give that to them. And they're fully enjoying it and taking it in, smiles on their face, tears, and it's the most beautiful thing ever. So music from all over the world. I love all music. I give all music a chance. It's just a beautiful thing that we're here to do.
No doubt, Rasta. So, but you met in Gainesville.
Yes.
And you toured together. Not only here in Brazil, because we took part of that tour when we went to Aracaju, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you had the opportunity to play?
We did some places in Florida near Gainesville.
Okay.
Yeah, some Florida shows.
There's Bill.
More water.
Yes,
Bill's
please.
back.
Bill's back, ready to interact with
Bill
us.
Bond.
Obrigado.
You see, all Bahiacast team is able to understand and also to interact with us in English. So we are expecting some heavy participation from you guys.
And to play reggae and to play samba.
Yes. So you toured a bit in the States with reggae samba.
Well, today I only play in events that it's promoted by somebody that I really know and I really trust, or some event that I'm promoting myself. Actually, this is the best one that I like, because then I will have the infrastructure that I want, and I got the time that I want, and it's more enjoyable.
Yes.
I quit playing for many people that I don't know anymore, because I have a really stable life now. And music, it's something so special that I want to really give a show. But the thing is, I'm the head guy. I need to do everything. I need to prepare everything. And I need to make sure that everyone that is going to the stage with me, that they will be getting paid for, because I think that is really important, even if they don't need, because today in a band, probably 90%, they really don't need it to get paid, but they will get paid some. Then I decide to...
And also taken care of properly.
Yeah.
It's
So
also something that's very important for us,
Yeah.
that we miss when we are
exactly.
touring and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
And then I decide not to play that much, because I can save that relationship with the people that I love to play, which is a therapy for me. And I do believe that it may never happen, the big thing, but it's already a big thing for me, because I came from nothing and I play in New York, Florida, Orlando. So for me, it's already successful. It can be way bigger. Yes, it can. But maybe it's not now. Maybe it's years from now. And I don't want to put in risk the relationship with the people that are involved. Because maybe in 10 years from now, if we have opportunity to go big, we still have, we're still able to do happily, instead of just being there, just working, and be miserable. And then in 10 years, when that chance comes, nobody wants to do anymore.
Yes, I understand that. Sometimes it's part of the package. I mean it's difficult to as you said before, you spent months in a sleeping in a
beanbag. I couldn't afford a mattress, but I also couldn't afford to tell my parents and my friends.
Yes,
that I
this
was
is very
living.
common. It was quite the same for us.
Yeah, but when you go through things like that, and I think about it now, it's a happy moment for me, because that was when I was. I mean, you keep moments like that to stay humble, to stay grounded. It keeps you, from drifting off to the mentality I had before I went to school, and I said, oh, music, easy. When I came back to music years later, I was much older. A lot more people could do what I could do. I wasn't that young kid anymore. So it was a lot different. And you could use it as a motivation, or you can make it knock you down and you just quit music. And I know a lot more people that quit music than kept doing it. A lot of great musicians that could have been something amazing, and they had to pay bills. For me, the reason why I stay with music is every time a bill was due, like the next day or something, and I was like,
or last week.
Yeah, I'm just like, maybe I should quit music and do something. Something just dropped out of the sky. And I was like, oh, here's some money for you to go another month. And you're just like, what was that? And it happens over.
Do you mean directly?
You
ask him?
Yeah, because it happens over and over again. And I have to laugh every time, because I'm just like, look, I already know I'm not going to quit music. And once you have that mentality and that drive, everybody's telling you, you know, why don't you do something else? Why don't you do something why don't you be a doctor, be a lawyer? I wouldn't do that. Oh, Jimmy tried that, it didn't work. Oh, Victor tried that, it didn't work. It's like, I'm not any of those people. Everybody's journey is different. So I have to be the person to break the mold and show everybody that, look, if this is what you love, if you have the determination to do it, if you can sleep on a beanbag for months, if you can stand on the street corner and hand out CDs, then this is for you. And it's a lot more gratifying to be where I am now, because people see me now and they're like, oh, we're so proud of you and we always knew you could do it. And those are the same people that said, oh, don't do it. And
it's very common that these kind of people, they forget that.
Yeah.
They tend to forget what they said before.
Once you make it, everybody's your friend. Oh my gosh, I always knew. Remember, I always knew that. Yeah. And the thing is, where I am now, people think I'm big, and I still have the mentality that I'm small. The things that I'm looking at and the places I want to be, there's so much further to go. So while people are like, oh, you're doing so great, I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm focused on this other thing. There's so much more, so much further to go. Some people feel like, oh, you've already made it. That's it. You're done. There's so much work to be done. There's so much more that can be done. That's why I'm starting this label and I'm doing all these different things. And if I have the capacity to do it, I'm going to do it. Especially if it's just me and it's in my control. Why not?
Yes. I think that is very, from my viewpoint, it's very obvious. And knowing you as well as I know you, that there is a spiritual component.
Oh, yeah.
To what you do in music. I mean, not only your in terms of how you behave, how you look at the world, but in the music itself.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true for both?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For me, that's the fuel. I was talking with Raw, right? Raw is a friend of us. He's a sound engineer and a producer. And we was talking, and I was going through a divorce. And I was,
you were going through a divorce.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, man, I need to do some music. I'm going through a divorce and all of that. And Raw, music. And he was like, yes, I know. Music never let you down. I've been there, man. Let's record, because it's a free for us. It's a therapy, And there's so many people struggling with psychological and psychiatrical problems. That we could be one of them. And music brings us back, because everyone has ups and downs. There's no one that doesn't. There's no one. But for us that works with arts, it's a little different. Of course, if you are exposure to a big scenario where more people will try to subtract from you, for people who really made money or became famous, it's a danger place to be, because there will be so many people as a sponge getting your energy, and then you can recover. But for people who are not in that space, they are able to not have so much negativity, it's easier, because then the music itself will balance you and will bring you back. You're gonna go down, but you're not gonna hit the bottom. So music is very spiritual, especially today. One thing for me, it's super mega spiritual, because I've been playing music for over 20 years, and I was never able to play music high of anything.
You don't drink, you don't smoke?
No, nothing to play. And if I do, believe me, it will be a really bad show. It will.
Have you tried
Yes,
at least once?
I tried.
Was it bad?
It's super bad. and it wasn't even drunk or anything like that. You know, it could be 1 cup. It doesn't
Nothing
work.
happens.
To each his own.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen him drink.
Because we were left.
No,
I have a funny story about that.
Okay.
It happened first time in a rehearsal. We were going to practice, and our period was from 3 to 7, right? 3 to something like that. And when we get to the studio, Law Bastos double booked. So another band was already practicing, and we had 3 hours to kill. And everyone, whoa, let's drink a beer. Oh, yeah, let's drink a beer.
Why not?
Why not? So I did 2 cups. And then came our time to rehearse. And then everybody was playing and everything ready and go. In that time I didn't play guitar yet. And everyone was, Victor, it's your time. And I say, what? For what? It's your time to sing. And I was trying to get a tune. It wasn't happening. I would hit any note, but not the real note. I would be out of tune from the beginning to the end for 3 hours. It didn't go to 3 hours because by half an hour, everybody was, fuck that. We done. We're going to practice another day. And I try again. It didn't work. And then I say, whoa, why is that? Because in that time, so many of the musicians was super high from different things. But for me, it didn't work at all. And I just told myself, this is something that I never could do it, especially if I want to work with music. So until this day, actually, at one point where I was playing a lot, I put a rule. So anybody that I hire to play with me, no alcohol on stage or on a green room. After that, you guys can do it.
Okay.
But because some of the musicians had problems, with alcohol and different drugs. And the problem came to me, not to them, because the front man was me, It was affecting my career. And I was like, so from now on, I need to put
No
the
alcohol.
balls.
Okay.
So today I'm more relaxed because I know who I'm working with, and I know everyone, it's social drinker.
People are different. I mean, some
To
people.
each his own. I have a different story, the exact opposite of that, actually. So, to each his own. If you know your limit, you know your limit. You know how much you can handle. So it's there's a lot of peer pressure, especially in the music business. Oh, try this, drink, smoke, drugs, everything, and you have to know what's for you and what's not for you. A lot of people fall into that trap, and unfortunately, it takes away from the spiritual aspect of the music. Once you get out of that spiritual aspect, it doesn't make sense anymore. You're just having fun with whatever you're using. In my experience, when I recorded that first album in Gainesville, I planned an album release show. And, all my friends came. I had friends that came up from Miami. My dad drove up. All these people are there to support me for my first album. And, all these people are there, and I'm excited. So, party time in school. So everybody that saw me before the show started was like, hey, Jamie, drink something with me, smoke something with me, have some fun. So everybody's like, oh, congratulations, before I went on the stage. So, I'm partying with everybody and everything is cool. And I was like, oh, man, let me go start the show. So we had about 3 sets planned, like an hour for each set, a nice show prepared for everybody. So I have the set list printed out. I gave it to the band and everything. I go up and I introduce myself. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we get in and we start playing the music. After the 3rd song, I don't know what was going on in my mind, but I thought we played for an hour, and I thought that was the end of the first set. So after playing 3 songs, after these people been waiting forever for me to start the show, after the 3rd song, I was like, okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break. So the whole band is looking at me on stage, and I'm like, come on, guys, walk off the stage, you know, sell this thing with me. And they're looking at me, and we finally get to the back again. And, you know, they're kind of funny, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? They're like, you know, we just played 3 songs. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we were only playing for like 10 minutes. I was like, I looked at my clock, and I was like, we got to get back out there. So from that moment, I scared myself. Luckily, in front of a small crowd that I knew, I can't smoke before the show. So now, straight, just like Victor, no drinking, no smoking before the show. I have to do the show, no time to party. I go to California now. I get my first tour with Holly Cook. Amazing, amazing, amazing artist. And Holly Cook is down to earth, cool girl. And she taught me a life lesson that I kept with me till this day. The vibe and chemistry of the band is 10 times more important than the actual musicianship and you playing your music and being technical. So you could put the best guitarist, the best drummer, the best everybody in the same room, but the chemistry might not work. You have to be able to be with these people off the stage as well as on the stage. So my first tour with Holly Cook, and I said, all right, you know, I'm going to learn her music and everything's going to be perfect. I can't make a mistake. You know, we're in the green room in the back. Everybody's, you know, drinking, smoking, chilling. I have on my headphones. I'm in the corner by myself. And, you know, I got to do the show perfect. And we have this whole tour. And by like the second show, she's like, man, what is your problem? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, yo, you're not drinking. You're not smoking. You're not doing anything. Like, yeah, you're kind of killing my vibe. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I was like, I could be cool, you know, like, what are you talking about? And she made me realize that I was going to have to balance both. It's not that I couldn't drink and I couldn't smoke, but I was so scared from the situation that I wanted to be professional. But there's a way to be professional and also know your limit. So you don't want to take away from your vibes and you don't want to take away from the artist's vibe. So I had to find the happy medium and know how much I could drink, how much I could smoke before the show until it became a thing where I knew exactly what to do before the show, and I was just happy on stage. Every time we made a mistake, everybody on stage is laughing and happy. It wasn't so much you have to be perfect on stage. I want you to be smiling. I want you to be free. And that's when the music was free. It wasn't work anymore. When I wasn't smoking, no drinking, nothing before the show, it was very strict. I was in the show and very professional, and I missed that C minor chord, and I'm in my head all the time. When I'm in my vibes and I'm cool and I'm hanging out and then, you know, everything's normal, it's like, let's go do the show now. Same thing with Julian and everybody after Holly Cook. She taught me that lesson early, and from then I've been able to mix and match both as long as you know your limit and you know what's for you. So, yeah.
That's what I believe. Yeah. Of course, sometimes you have to go a little further than you should be. And then to learn, not too much.
It takes some time.
Not too much.
It takes some time.
Guys, you know that we are pressed by time because we have all the editing and subtitling after this show. But I would like to keep something that we started off before the show. So I'd like you to talk a little bit about your experience in Ethiopia, because this is important for our I wouldn't say movement, but our people, because we are all tied in some level to reggae music. So we know that Ethiopia is important as a symbol, as a culture for this. So
Ethiopia is one of the most amazing places I've ever been in my life. More than Jamaica, more than Bahia, Ethiopia was something I didn't even know I needed until I went to Ethiopia.
And you went with Julian Marley?
I went with Julian to do one show. We were supposed to be there for one weekend, in and out. We ended up staying for about 3 weeks. From the moment we got there to the moment we tried to leave the first and second time, it was amazing. The hospitality, the culture, it's the start of civilization. There's so much rich history and culture there. The people, how they treat you, it's completely different from my experience in the States, in Jamaica, anywhere I've ever been. It's the only time I've gone somewhere, and when somebody met me and I'm telling them this is my first time to Africa, this is my first time to Ethiopia, they say, "Welcome home." I'm like, "Welcome home? I've never been here before." They made it feel like home. They made me feel like I had a connection, like I've been there before. When I go back to the States and they stamp your card at TSA at customs, they're like, "All right, welcome back, bye." Jamaica, oh, okay, bye. Ethiopia, they shake with two hands and stand up to attention and say, "Oh, welcome home. Glad to have you here." We went there to do one show. The show was amazing, but everything that happened after the show was what made Ethiopian experience what it was for me. We were able to go to Shashamani, where there's a heavy Rastafarian and Jamaican community down there. We donated to the local school down there. I got to meet some fantastic artists that are also going to be releasing on Miss Mac Music soon. I was able to record some songs down there. Just amazing people, amazing food, amazing culture, and the way they embrace Jamaican culture is amazing. I got to see the uptown life. I got to see the downtown life. I was in Addis Ababa. I got to learn a lot more history about Haile Selassie and everything that they speak about in Rastafarian culture. So although I'm around a lot of Rastafarians, I don't really identify as Rasta because I haven't really dug into the culture. So Ethiopia was my first real experience at actually seeing what Rastas believe in and learning about Selassie and King Solomon and Queen Sheba and all that stuff. And this is stuff that I haven't had besides the little Bible stories that I read as a kid. So when you get it from the source, all you hear in America or in the news is, "Oh, there's war in Africa, there's war in Ethiopia, everybody's poor on the streets, nobody has money and stuff." When you go there, everything is fantastic. And when you ask them, like, you guys, do you not have the money to travel and go to the United States? They're like, "Of course we have money. We just don't want to go to that place." Mm-hmm. They know about George Floyd. They know about all the bad things that happen in America. They get news over there also. They have no interest in being in America. And what America has you believing is that, "Oh, we don't want you to go there because if you go there, you're going to be caught up in the middle of a war." And, they don't come over here because, they can't afford it. And that's the image that you have from the few sources that give you a little bit of knowledge on the country.
No doubt.
Me actually experiencing it myself, I can now tell you, everybody in Bahia, everybody in Brazil, everybody listening to this podcast, that place is beautiful. The place is amazing. They have everything you could ever want. And they're welcoming for people to come there and bring their influence and bring their culture there. They're not like most countries. When I go to France or I go to certain places, they're just like, "Oh, you come here to take our resources and, get out of our country." Ethiopia is saying, "Come, help with what you can, give with what you can. What can you contribute to Ethiopia?" They're there to listen. They're the only country in Africa to never be colonized.
Yes.
Which
I was
gives you
about to say that.
Yeah, which gives you an idea of how the people's mentality are. Very strong-minded, strong-willed people. We got to do dinner with a local family there with Julian's godparents. And we were supposed to drop off Julian and his son Jacob, who we actually left in Ethiopia. He's still there. And we were going to drop them off, and the rest of us were going to leave to go do a studio session or do something else. We decided to come out the car just to be polite and say hi. And we passed by a room, and they had this feast prepared for us. And it was like a good 15 of us. And they had enough food for us, their family, and everything. And they have this wine called tej. It's made out of honey, fermented honey. And the grandmother, they brought out the tej for us. And I don't know what it is about tej, but me and Julian are hooked to tej now. And they have this thing where they pour your glass full. And while you're drinking, if your drink goes less than halfway down, they fill it back up to the top again. They don't want you to know how much you drink. They just want you to enjoy yourself. They said if you drink and you count, you're not going to drink as much or you won't be in the moment. Instead, they just top up your glass where you're not counting.
What's the name of the drink?
Tej. Tej.
Okay, Tej.
It's made out of honey. Oh, it's fantastic. I don't even like honey. I hate honey, but I love Tej. And you don't even get drunk. You just feel like you're floating, you're on this high, it's amazing, and it just, the hospitality is undeniable. Like that place, every time we went to the airport to leave, we turned around and stayed a couple extra days. Everything, the clubs, the places that we stayed, the food, everybody was welcoming. Everybody wanted us to stay. When I told everybody that I'm coming to Brazil, they're like, why don't you come back to Ethiopia instead? Which I would have loved to do. So I need to get back there as soon as possible. And I hope that my experience that I share with everybody is different from what people usually hear about Ethiopia and Africa, and people will actually take the trip over there. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, and I cannot wait to be back over there.
Maybe we should be in a gig.
Yeah.
To Ethiopia, all of us.
Yeah.
We bring Cabeça and Bill too.
Teacher Bill.
I think they would love it. They love music there. They love music there. They have so many live bands playing every night at so many different clubs. And even in COVID, when we were there, they shut down a bunch of clubs. But when we were there, we saw enough clubs where we were just like, this place is busy, this place is popping, and everywhere was a live band. So they even have a jazz night on Mondays called Fendika. And went to Fendika and, you know, put my name on the list for the jam session. And it was all the way at the bottom. And I guess they ran out of time. And they're like, all right, that's it, everybody. They started packing up and everything. And the guy looks on the list again. And on the bottom, it says, Jaime Hinckson, Jacob, and Julian Marley. Oh, my God. He's like, oh, he sets back up the instruments. And we played a couple songs and jammed. And that video went viral online and stuff. And I've been waiting to go back to Fendika and stuff, which is similar to the place I played yesterday. Just like
Evas.
Same vibes. Jam session, but they love music in Ethiopia, and I cannot wait to share with the world the artists that I met and all the different music that I'm releasing. I want to do collaborations with Ethiopian artists, Brazilian artists, Jamaican artists, put them all on the same track together, just make our worlds smaller, which is what the world is now with the internet and everything going on. So
perfect, guys, unless we are pressed by time. So you are presently doing some shows together?
No, Jaime did one show yesterday at Entre Folhas e Ervas, and then tomorrow he will be with the Januman.
Januman. Okay.
He will be at the
a real jam session.
Yeah, I was there last time.
Okay.
And on Sunday he will be with Lucci.
Oh, okay.
Playing a couple songs with Lucci.
Great friend of us.
Yeah.
But depending on, he will change his flight.
I might extend my ticket again.
In Ethiopia.
Tonight we coming to see Adão Negro.
Yeah, I gotta come see you guys. Actually, after here, we need to try and go to Latam so I can change my ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to invite you in any opportunity that we have in the future to come back to our Bahiacast, because we have lots of things
to
talk about.
Definitely.
But it's been a pleasure. It's a very big opportunity for us to how could I say that, to show to our public, to our people, that we are in this for real, in order to bring culture, to bring music, to bring some inspiring experiences, as we heard here with you today in this show. So maybe in the future you could come back and play some more for us.
Definitely. I'd love to. I mean, I love it here in Salvador. I can't stay away too long.
Yes.
So, yes. And thank you for having us on Bahiacast. Next time we'll do the entire interview in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Estão aprendendo. So, en breve, soon I'll have enough Portuguese down and I'll be able to do an entire interview.
Okay. It will be our pleasure. Vitor, thanks for coming. You're a great friend of, I can't remember when, since ancient times.
Yes.
So, great pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure to me always. And I really like the vibes. Bahiacast on live. Even if things change. Maybe with the change and going back to everything, it's not gonna be like as often, but that it keeps, because it's another way. It's another way that for us to have,
A voice.
a voice.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the point. That's very important. In the name of our great team, that is Walter Cabeça, as technical director, I don't know if I can say that, and also Jorge Bill as our general director. I don't know if I can say that, but okay, it's put that way.
All right.
I'd like to thank you, and we are waiting anxiously for your return here to Bahiacast.
Obrigado.
Valeu, Serginho!
Muito bom. É isso aí, meus amigos. Hoje a gente pressionado pelo tempo, mas a conversa estava muito boa. Passou que eu nem vi. Acho que essa é a impressão de todos. Então, em nome de toda a equipe, a gente agradece. E é isso. A gente continua aqui nessa bancada aqui. Não podemos terminar sem também valorizar os nossos apoiadores, que é a rapaziada da ZYON fazendo o nosso marketing digital. A CARPON, que nos ajuda também com o vestuário aqui e com energia positiva também e alegria e tudo mais. Copo Cheio também, Empório de Bebidas, que está sempre colocando. Hoje a gente não bebeu porque os nossos convidados não bebem. Mas no beer, no alcohol. Not now. Later. SAMPAIO Sabores também, um hambúrguer gourmet de alta qualidade também que está bombando em Salvador. Nosso doutor Enzo Querino também, odontologia especializada. E CTS também, que é o Centro Técnico Salvador também, com cursos técnicos acessíveis e que vão te capacitar a entrar no mercado de trabalho com certeza com mais rapidez e com uma vantagem competitiva. É isso aí. Paz e luz e energia positiva para todo mundo e até a próxima.